Massive game for Norwich City this weekend, away to West Brom, which kicks off a run of really difficult fixtures against promotion rivals for the Canaries. Of course, Daniel Farker will give us his full rundown of team news at Colney on Friday afternoon. But all being well with the injuries, here is the 11 I would be going with at the Hawthorns. Of course, 8 changes for the FA Cup game last week. The majority of that team comes back in for me. So Tim Krul, Max Aarons, Tim Closer, Mario Vrancic, Onel Hernandez, Timo Pukki, all back in the starting lineup, sticking with the same shape as usual. I'm presuming that Jamal Lewis is going to be fit. The club have posted some training photos in the last couple of days, which has shown Jamal in the thick of training and Alex Tettey. So if they're both fit enough to start, I would bring them back in. You've got to have Jamal back in. Perhaps maybe a few lung-busting runs down the left just to protect that hamstring. But if Alex Tettey can't make it, perfectly happy for Ben Godfrey to be starting as well. Clearly he's in his flow and has been playing pretty well. Really like the attitude that Ben's been showing recently. Looks a real determined guy. So that would be Alex Tettey or Godfrey next to Tom Tribal, because no Marco Stiepermann expected for the game against West Brom, and that allows Mario Vrancic to play in the number 10 role, which I think probably suits his creative abilities a bit better anyway. Whereas if you had Tribal and Vrancic as your holding midfielders, I'm not sure that's strong enough for a championship battle. And then Cantwell Hernandez on the wings, as you'd expect, so pretty much as we've seen the majority of the season. Moving on to West Brom, looks like they generally have been playing a 4-3-3 recently. Tosin Adebayo, a Manchester City loanee, is a very highly rated prospect in defence. Jay Rodriguez, Dwight Gale, both doing really well for them up front. Goals certainly not a problem. We'll come on to that in a minute. The big issue for them is Harvey Barnes, whether he'll be recalled by Leicester. So in terms of strengths, Albion are the division's top scorers. They scored 54 goals, which is 5 more than the next highest scorer, Villa, so far this season. And Gale and Rodriguez both have 13 to their name already. In terms of weaknesses, I would say there's a bit of a lack of pace there. In defence, you've got Craig Dawson, Carl Bartley at centre-back. Adebayo, who I've already mentioned, he is about 6'4", so pace isn't necessarily his thing. And Kieran Gibbs, former Norwich loanee at left-back. Not the quickest player in the world either, but did play for England, so a decent left-back. Ahmed Hegazi might be back from injury for them. He's an Egypt international, so he's someone who might bring a bit more defensive strength for them. But when you've got Gareth Barry, Chris Brunt, James Morrison, none of them are spring chickens anymore. So I don't think there's a great deal of pace in that team. So whether Norwich can keep that kind of fast-paced attacking, flowing movement going could be a big thing at the Hawthorns. And finally, their danger man, a big talking point ahead of the game, Harvey Barnes, on loan from Leicester. Will he be recalled? There's a big rumour going around that Leicester want him back in January, but whether that will be ahead of Saturday's game or not remains to be seen. He's got 9 goals and 6 assists so far and has started every league game for Darren Moore. So it's clear that he's a crucial player. Also looked very impressive for Barnsley last season. So whether he will be recalled will be crucial. And then, of course, if he is, that might just bring a certain Mr. Wes Hoolahan into their thinking, who is apparently going to get a new deal at West Brom as well. Whether he'll be involved, we'll have to see.